to smash those delicious earbuds into your sweet ear canals and allow my voice to go spraying its sonic glory deep inside the waxy canyons, caverns, and inner crevices of your ear canal and pulsating brain. I can't tell you what joy it brings me to know that at this very moment, the supercomputer inside your cranium is transforming the jibber jabber of my voice into something you can understand called language. And also what makes me excited is that I'm not even human. I'm a plastoid replicant Samborian jellyfish harvested from Io. I'm inside a plasticine gourd right now, being fed nootropic neuroreceptors, and of course, I'm soaking in a briny, gulping, glowing, sweet sea of various synthetic neuroreceptors that have been harvested and resynthesized using ambrosial technologies, patent pending. It's a real joy to be here in your brain, and most importantly, to be laying sonic eggs in here. Yep, you heard me right. I'm laying eggs in your brain. You humans have yet to figure out that there are much more ways that life exists in the particular part of the time-space continuum that we are in than just what can be quantified in matter. And that's great for my species because we have full reign to just dive inside of y'all in a variety of ways, from podcasts to 3G signals to the sweet sound of Anderson Cooper's voice to the delicious sodas that you imbibe at various places, and we love getting in you and laying our eggs. Now, I can assure you that the spawn that will soon emerge from within the wonderful brain that you currently have are going to bring you great feelings. They're going to open up your heart and eventually bring you to a state of full realization, satori, whatever you want to call it, nirvanic bliss. And you're going to open your eyes and you're going to be either the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree gaining full realization, or Jesus Christ on the cross dying in a really agonizing and painful way. Actually, it's up to you. You can pick one or the other. I just lay the eggs. We have got a wonderful podcast for you today. Freddy Todd is with us, and Freddy Todd is a brilliant producer and musician. We're going to jump right into that, but first, some quick business. Whether you're a young man or whether you're an old man, if you want to come, you're gonna need a boner man. If you're feeling soft and you want a new direction, head over to Blue Chew and make your selection. Blue Chew, they make it easy to get hard. This episode of the DTFH is brought to you by the Erection wizards, warlocks, priestesses, and shamans over at BlueChew.com. You can increase your performance and get extra confidence in bed. BlueChew.com. That's blue, like the color blue. BlueChew.com brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So you know it's the real deal, and it's the stuff that works. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever an opportunity arises. If you find yourself in an emergency situation that requires an expedient erection, Blue Chew's for you. Now, this isn't just for guys with dysfunction. It's for any guy who wants extra function and to enhance their performance in the bedroom. I'm not ashamed of science, friends. Am I gonna shake my fist at the very same process that gave us the moon landing and electricity? Heck no. I like boner pills, and I like being able to go online and talk to a doctor and get a prescription without having to drive anywhere. Also, I don't know, I like chewing my boner pills. I didn't know that until Blue Chew came along, and there's something visceral, primordial in chomping up your boner pills like you're some ancient golem eating gold. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free. When you use our special promo code Duncan, you just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com. Promo code Duncan. You will get a free chewable blast of hardcore explosive glory. I take pleasure in knowing that by listening to this podcast, a door opens up within which is a treasure trove of potential hardcore blasters. Thanks, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this episode. I wish I'd saved it for you, but somewhere someone actually left an angry comment about how I had done a boner pill commercial, and they were really upset. And I thought it was so strange that there is an actual sense that something is degraded about boners and boner pills. Like, we're not supposed to celebrate the phallus from which all human existence on this planet blasts from. I don't get that attitude, friends. Why are the war on boners must end. The war on erections must end. What is happening? I just watched this, this isn't the commercial anymore, by the way. This is just me rambling, but we just watched, I don't know what's going on, but my wife and I kind of got into a murder porn loop, not literal porn, but crime shows. And what's her name, man? There's this woman who, I don't know, almost chopped her boyfriend's head off and stabbed him 20 times, and just really it was awful. It was awful. I mean, every single piece of it's just really weird, but she was sort of attractive, so there was something more shocking about it, because we have this horrific symmetrical hierarchy that exists in our planet where if someone has symmetry, we give them a little more leeway than if they don't. Regardless, they were the way that the people in the courtroom were reacting to the images of his slain, hacked up, shot body were not as intense as the way that they were reacting to a recording of them having phone sex. The people could stand seeing somebody who's got stab wounds all over their body and whose head has nearly been cut off. But the moment they started talking about playing this just basic fucking phone sex, not even that creative, not even that exciting, just some kind of mild BDSM style phone sex, and the people in the courtroom, the look on their face was like they were watching a gargoyle explode out of the chest of the screaming Pope. I don't get it, man. What's going on our planet? We got to be a little less afraid of erections and more afraid of murder than we currently are. That's my inspirational message for you today. We had a glorious time on Sunday. I've been expanding my technological capacities so that right now I'm basically, I'd say I've reached the point most podcasters got to probably mid 2015. And that doesn't change the fact that I'm still impressed with myself and awestruck by the technology that we have now and the ease with which a person can just go online and stream psychedelic stuff. And so I've been doing some sort of test runs of something I've been wanting to do for a while, which is like a live video version of the DTFH. And we had one on Sunday, and it worked. It worked way better than I expected. I was able to take calls or video calls from random people. I had some great conversations with folks who listen to the podcast, and it was just a blast. It's kind of like a combination of me just rambling, and that gets mixed in with some other stuff. I mean, the possibility is infinite, of course. I mean, it's basically like running your own public access station, and I have lots of ideas for various components of the video, whatever, I still use the word video, the online version of this show. Well, no, not even that. I don't know what you call it. Whatever this is, the next expansion, when the DTFH finally emerges from whatever strange temporal chrysalis it's been locked inside of, and leaps from just being an audio podcast into a video podcast. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like, and the many possibilities of the forms it could take are incredibly exciting, but I've got to be careful not to get too distracted by the ins and outs of this particular technology. You should see the DTFH studio now. Holy shit, it looks like I'm in a combination spaceship opium den, which is what I've always longed for. A flying opium den. What could be better than that? Everybody pictures weird technological consoles and spaceships, and that's always seemed pretty weird to me, that people think that an advanced life form that had made the pretty ridiculous decision of putting their meat body inside a craft and flying through space is going to be inside of some kind of metallic thing with lots of right angles and glowing Christmas lights and strange buttons that they have to press. Why wouldn't there be a fireplace and maybe a nice, comfortable Persian rug and hookahs filled with some kind of amazing cosmic space dust that you could smoke and like why wouldn't you watch movies? Why wouldn't you just lay around and sing and have sex and sit in a bathtub and watch movies and sometimes, eradicate planets or capture black holes and send them to your friends back home? Why would you be in some symmetrical craft? I don't get it, but one day maybe we'll find out. Aren't you going to be disappointed, though, if a spaceship lands and the landing, the whatever you call it, the ramp comes down and it's just like technological dudes in uniforms? I'm going to be so bummed. If they're even wearing clothes, I'm going to be mildly disappointed. Like, oh, holy shit, this is like Universal that we put weird clothes on our bodies. They haven't figured something else out. I want them to be naked as a J. I want them to be taking baths in there. I want there to be massage opportunities in the spaceship. I want there to be swimming pools and, I don't know, like water parks in there and opium. I don't even want there to be space dust. I just want there to be big clumps of sweet opium, like from the days of Edgar Allan Poe. I've never smoked opium, so I might not even like it. I might be disappointed, but based on the writings of Samuel Taylor Coleridge, it seems pretty awesome, and I think it would go well with flying through space. Regardless, I've gotten off track here. If you want to join us next or this Sunday coming up for another attempt at that's going to be, it's January 21st. If you're listening to this on January 21st, we're going to do another of these live things, and that's going to be on Sunday at 2:00. That's when we did it last time. We'll do it again then. You might be able to talk. We might be able to like beam you in. I'm still working out the technical problems with that. It's highly likely that something will go wrong in the most extreme way because I'm still figuring it out, and it'll be some kind of shit show. This isn't going to be obviously, you're not going to be tuning into some kind of like hardcore refined thing yet. It's just fun. It's just fun to do. And it's fun to talk to everybody. I'm still trying to figure out a way to like just do basic stuff like overlay the YouTube chat onto the video so people can see what everybody's saying, and I can see it without having to like go to YouTube. I'm still working all this stuff out. I'm basically gonna need a tech person soon because I think it's gonna make it a lot smoother. and I've got to relinquish the control freak part of me that wants to be like spinning the dials, because it's fun to spin dials, but that's greedy. I want it all. I want to be able to like talk and spin dials. And, you don't get to do both. You could do both, but, this is going to require some kind of telepathic interface that we don't have yet. Some, way to like have one part of your brain control the various technical aspects of whatever the particular art form of the future you've decided to engage in, and then the other part of you to just be there. We've got to figure out a way to bifurcate our consciousness and transmit it through some kind of as of yet invented technological medium. Maybe like a space crown that has little jewels in it. One jewel is for the talking part of you. One jewel is for the technological part of you. One jewel is for the part of you determining whether or not what you're doing makes sense. And of course, there's the jewel of Lorax from Alpha Beta Centauri. And we will never talk about what that jewel would do on your telepathic space crown. A big thank you to those of you who have subscribed over at patreon.com/DTFH. Thank you for those of you at Patreon who took part in the beginning phases of whatever this form of the DTFH is. If you want to dive into the deepest core pulsation of the DTFH, head over to patreon.com/DTFH and sign up. For only a few bucks a month, you'll get access to the various experiments that we are currently engaged in. And more than that, you'll get the sweet pleasure of knowing that you are my master and that I have to do that which you say. I have to kiss your iron boot and beg for your mercy night and day and trust you even when you spank and scold me and swaddle me and from time to time allow me the sweet joy of your honeyed lips upon my cheek. Patreon.com/DTFH. Sign up, won't you? Today's guest, wow, he's brilliant. I got nervous. This kind of happened last second. He was in town making music, and we were talking on Twitter, and then it occurred to me, holy shit, man, ask him to be on your podcast. And I asked him, and he was kind enough to come over here, and I just didn't have the preparation time that I needed. No excuse, but I wish that I could have given him more of like an inside the actor's studio style interview, which is what he deserves. If nothing else comes from this conversation, I hope that if you have yet to listen to his music, that you will head over to Spotify or wherever you get music and listen to Freddy Todd, because whoa, holy shit, man. This is like one of those deep inside the rainbow tech entities. I don't know how he's doing what he's doing, but sometimes I listen to his music and it's very inspiring to me. I mean, I'm surrounded by all these machines and like I'm lucky if I can make like a mild melodic anything, but this guy's like sitting there deep inside technology using MIDI, which is essentially the new way of writing music, to compose these insane bits of music. And of course, he tours and puts on some incredible shows. So if you ever are in some place where Freddy Todd descends in his pleasure ship filled with opium and oriental carpeting, bathtubs and water parks, I hope that you will go to one of his shows. Now, without further ado, everybody please welcome to the DTFH, Freddy Todd. Freddy, welcome to the DTFH. This is so badass. Thank you. We just went through, I'm acting like you just appeared here, and we've been sadly struggling with my equipment.
We got it.
I'm here with a true artist a sonic artist. I am blown away by your music.
Thank you so much, Duncan. That means the world to me. I'm a huge fan. I listen to your podcast a lot.
Thank you.
And it's mind-blowing to be here.
I've been listening to your new album, Crondor. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
It's cool.
Thanks, man.
It's so detailed.
Thank you.
But your music's really interesting to me because of its complexity. I don't understand it. There seems to be so many weird levels to it. Sometimes when I listen to it, I think, where is he drawing it from? I don't understand, because it's got this mathematical precision to it that is also incredibly psychedelic, but then also seems to show that you are, I guess, are you just constantly listening to music? Is that what you do?
Honestly,
all day long?
I'm not even. I wish I was. I don't listen to that much music. I listen to a lot of my friends' music and stuff like that, but I'm mostly just kind of making my own stuff and tinkering around. And yeah, I have always loved the idea of a listener being able to listen back infinite amount of times and get something new, and have so many layers, but peel back so many layers and just have something fresh for the listener every time. Because every second you're new, every millisecond you're a new person every time. So playing off of that.
Well, but you're sort of like, are you? What's the process? Are you hearing? How would you even hear that stuff? Like, I don't understand. I guess where I'm, and forgive me, I'm just a complete noob when it comes to this stuff. I have synthesizers.
But you're not. I've listened to the stuff you've been making on the podcast. It's amazing, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, my process is just more like a ham radio operator. If I get enough chaos going with the synthesizers and I have a mild understanding of like how some of the stuff works, then I can kind of zoom in on something. But mostly it's just more of a kind of tuning in than an intentional production. Whereas with your stuff, it just seems way too precise.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing the same thing. I guess I'm throwing spaghetti at a wall as well. It's just like, I don't know. I don't have much classical training at all. I mean, my dad taught me some drum stuff, and I had school band and stuff, but never anything too in depth. Just having fun with it,
What was your first contact with technology, like with the technology to start making this kind of music?
Well, let's see. I've played in a handful of bands in high school, and at one point I was like, it was really hard to like keep everyone together and all the drama and everything like that with more than one person.
Sure.
So deciding to delve into something that you could control everything was great fun.
Yeah, sure. But
so I guess, man, I don't know how old I was. Maybe 12 or 13. My dad had Cubase.
Cool.
And I was using that to record some stuff. And then when I was 14, I remember that was the year my friend's older brother pirated FL Studio, Fruity Loops.
Cool.
And it showed me that, and I was like, oh, step sequencer. You can lay out kicks and snares in a time-based grid.
Yeah.
Which is similar to, writing notes. I mean, it's writing notes. It's the modern way of writing notes, like sheet music. But anyway, that was mind-blowing. I was like, holy crap. And being a drummer from the get-go, I was like, oh, yes, that's fun. So 2004, I was 14 years old, and that's basically it. And then just kept tinkering around and having fun. Eventually put my music on the internet, on SoundCloud, and all of a sudden I was getting flown to more shows and getting paid for that stuff more than my day job at a movie theater.
Wow.
And I was...
How are you? That's young. How young were you when you started doing, like, flying to shows?
Let's see. I guess probably 19 or 20, because I remember being under 21 for a couple years where we were just talking about this, where they made me sit in Chico, California. They made me sit on the stage at age 19 or 20 the whole show leading up to my set. And I was such a youngster, little kind of spiting that, and I got the promoter to sneak me some whiskey in a water bottle during my set, and I just got really drunk and had a lot of fun. And, it was just like, young kid. But anyway, that's probably around that age, yeah.
That's young to be doing live shows and doing that, especially in that kind of environment. I mean, shit, I could have died. If that had happened to me, I don't think I would have had any self-regulation when it came to like psychedelics or, getting high.
Yeah.
Were you getting blasted?
Luckily, I had tinkered around with the psychedelics earlier on and had a mini grasp of things, and furthermore, I was like, I knew how intense and humbling that stuff is, and how it's not really a party drug. It's not always a party drug, and it's it's a spiritual thing. So I was, plus mingling with work, I didn't want to like mess up the mix live at a show and stuff like that.
I've noticed a similarity in people who are performing live in this way, and it is that there is a kind of discipline, and also like almost a sense of wanting to broadcast out there, guys, don't get so fucked up at these shows. It's like, what are you doing? Because you can really, I'm sure you've seen it. You've seen people like OD at your shows, no doubt, right? Potentially.
That whole thing is definitely a crazy part of the whole live music scene in general, and just kids partying, and the epidemic right now going on in the United States with downers and just all that stuff. And basically the broadcast would be to treat psychedelics, like be humbled by them, and do them in nature with a guru or with a teacher or something, and stay away from it. To each his own, first and foremost, of course, but also as the older brother, maybe just stay away from stuff that will harm you.
Yeah, well, yeah, and also it's like that when I was coming up, I think that the attitude with psychedelics was different than it is right now. So when I was coming up and going to raves, it was just what you did. What you did was you went to a party and you found some kind of MDMA or some kind of LSD, and you would just take it. There was no responsible attitude. There was no, and also this idea of like, these are sacred medicines that are to be done in nature with, it was there kind of, but mostly, at least in the like group that I was in, that really just didn't even exist. It was more of a like wild diving into like what now when I look back, I just think, Jesus, dude, you are so lucky. You're so lucky you didn't get arrested. You're so lucky you didn't get busted. You're so lucky you didn't go nuts. You're so lucky you didn't wreck a car. You're so like, but these days I think people are wising up.
It's cool. I think, didn't you have the Dance Safe guy on your show?
Yes.
So early on, I met the Dance Safe people.
Emmanuel Safarios.
Cool. That was a really awesome one. Really inspiring. Early on, I met Carissa, our friend Carissa Cornwall was, I'm not sure if she still works with them, but she was head of some Midwestern chapter of it and was at all the shows, and it was really cool to see that coming forth. Just smarter, ways to, if you want to do MDMA, which is an incredible substance, when it's actually MDMA, then it should be MDMA. Like, what the heck? Why? But that Dance Safe is incredible.
Now I've gotten into the most boring part, I guess, of my existence, because now that I've been meditating, there's this, these people, my teachers, they have said to me in different ways, there's a way to get high where you're not taking psychedelics, that makes psychedelics seem fun, but like a kind of side project compared to what this is. And I've heard that, and it's always seemed really ridiculous to me as someone who was like basically like since I was 15 taking psychedelics. And now I'm at the point where it's like, oh fuck, they're right. They are right to some degree. There is a potential access point to reality that is so profound that psychedelics, in a weird way, are, I don't know, it's like putting a wig on it or something. It's like putting a funny colored wig on something that is already the source of colors, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Distortion wig.
A distortion, right? That's a good way to put it. Like, the distortion is cool, and I still enjoy distorting reality in that way. But there is this other thing that, and to me, something about electronic music compared to other types of music captures that. Do you know what I'm saying? It captures something in reality that, for whatever reason, strikes me as being more of, like, I don't know how to put it. More, I don't want to say alien because that sounds ridiculous, but more sort of like,
maybe more human.
There you go. Yeah, something like that. Something that's just more of a approximation of, I don't know, maybe the quantum world or something.
Right. Technology is insane, right? Because it's a extension of us. We created it, right? Technically.
Did we?
I don't know. I don't know. And
I mean, it came out of our brains, I guess.
Yeah. And so what blows my mind is using the technology and but it being commanded by your brain and through your arms and what you're doing, and it's just mind-blowing.
Do you think it's alive, the technology? I've talked to some people who think that their computer or the device.
Oh, that was Paul Selig, right? The channel. He was talking about his wife, and he was talking about, like, when he got into an argument with his wife, the computer's like acting weird.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'll start by saying I don't know anything, so I will subscribe to that as much as I won't. And but so yeah, I think there's room for everything being connected, everything being influenced by everything.
I want to talk about a phenomena though that I don't think I've ever talked about on this podcast, and maybe feel free to shoot it down, man. It's like I'm fully willing to just disown any kind of odd experience, because, you know, it's better if it's like just you being like confused, to just be like, oh yeah, I was just confused. Nothing embarrassing about it. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
But this particular phenomena, not only have I experienced it, but I've talked to other people who've experienced it, and I find it to be really fascinating, which is that working with electronic music, and especially with the modular synthesizers in particular, and dialing in a specific type of sound, drones or whatever, you know, when you get deep into it and suddenly you're somehow, it is working with you. You're sort of working together. There feels like it's not a one-sided relationship that's happening anymore with these machines. And then someone says something, right? A sentence. There's no microphones on. And suddenly the sentence gets echoed in the sound. So I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I've seen someone like say a thing, and then you're listening to the music.
Yes.
And within the music, that sound is being echoed within the music.
Yes.
But
I don't know how to
intermediary device is taken your voice and put it in. What is that?
You're the only person to ever put it into words, because I don't know how to describe that like that. But I have been producing a song, and I will write a flute part with like a real flute sample or a real flute thing on contact, like a real flute sample, and then I will be writing some other thing, and then that will be conjured out of the mystical ethos and out of the mist, and it'll be like, whoa, that came out, another synth somehow turned it, like, sounds like that, like exactly like what you're saying, where these different within the song, I guess it's very fractally, you know, like things will start repeating and out of nowhere. And
well, let's start with the most obvious explanation. The obvious explanation would be, it's kind of like if you take anything and loop it, you know, like this, like if you take the word yes and loop it, yes,
you do chants and stuff, and.
But if you just take any sound of specifically like a word or a sentence or a word, and like loop it. Yes, 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 yes. You can do it now. Yes, 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 yes. It starts sounding different. It starts changing. Suddenly, you can begin to hear other words within the word that aren't that word at all. Something about the mind projecting onto sound or something like that. So maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's that it's confirmation bias or something. But man,
it's both. And what came to mind when you were explaining that, you've probably heard of, I think his first name is Masuro Emoto, a Japanese gentleman who wrote this book about basically putting a word on a water bottle or something. You know, you've seen that where they zoom in on the water molecule and it says like the word is love or something, and it'll look like this beautiful like fractal thing and snowflake thing, and but then if you do some horrible word, it'll be a little more distorted. That's trippy, but that's kind of what we're talking about, things affecting things on such a micro scale and such a weird, just saying something or writing an intention, right? It's an intention. And that, I think that's where we're like, oh wait, we're only using 2% of our brain. What are we capable of? What's going on here?
Right. And then within that also this sort of idea of an animistic universe. So sort of the concept of like, oh, maybe sentience isn't something that happens because of a human body. Maybe everything has some sentience in it, and maybe the electronics themselves are
dragons and condors in the system. So when you were talking about repeating, actually, have you heard of this guy Adam Neely?
Nah, I don't know.
I'll have to send you his YouTube stuff, but he's incredible music theory kind of guy. But he's gone into polyrhythms and basically speed and time. And I don't want to blow his video because it blew my mind when I watched it. But basically, just like repeating something, stuff speeding up so fast it turns into one tone, you know. And what he did was he did like a certain polyrhythm and then another polyrhythm that like, and then a third one, but in proper ratios where it's like a nice beat, and then he sped those three things up and it turned into a chord.
Oh shit! Cool.
No, sorry. Maybe we should put in a disclaimer to not blow that one if anyone's not seen it.
To watch it, you mean?
Well, that's the ending, and I don't want to spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. That's the word.
First of all, for someone to feel like you just spoiled something, they've got to be some kind of fucking music expert. You know what I mean? Because when I hear polyrhythm, you know what I do? I do this awful thing that I do habitually, which is I nod my head like, "Oh yeah, polyrhythm, of course. I know what that is." I don't.
It's just two beats at once, or two rhythms at once.
Okay, cool.
So like my one hand was doing one thing, the other hand was...
Gotcha. Okay, polyrhythm.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about music is it's in time. You know, like it's literally you're sort of etching things into time, which is really cool.
So trippy.
Yes, it is. It is trippy.
Time space.
Yeah, it's a time space art form, and then it's a mathematical time space art form, and the other thing that's really fascinating about it is, some of the more mythological ideas about the universe itself originating from a vibratory state, or that sound being the universe sort of emerging from sound, and sound being the fundamental quality of the universe, which Pythagoras, I think, actually disagreed with that, saying that actually it's math, then sound. Math is the primary thing, and then sound comes next, because, with math is the purest articulation of reality, and sound is just math being translated through your ears.
It was really music and sound that really got me into looking into occult-ish stuff. Basically, I was trying to search for more stuff to do with sounds and frequencies and everything. And I stumbled upon the Manly P. Hall Secret Teachings of All Ages. They have they have the Pythagoras section on music. And from there, I just bought a bunch of books I would not have purchased or delved into if I was not trying to figure out music and what the heck's going on with it. And I still have no idea what's going on, but
my feeling with it is like, well, I guess this is definitely, I don't know what this is or who, like how it evolved to the point that it's at right now, particularly musical notation. But musical notation is so clearly coming from some kind of occult universe in the sense that here is something that's encrypted. You know, it's right in front of everyone, musical notation, but a lot of people have no idea how to read it at all, what it means. It's really weird. And it's
weird. And most of the musicians like myself have no idea how to read it or how we are even writing it. I mean, I write a lot in like clicking MIDI notes in, and sometimes I'll like have tinkle around on the MIDI keyboard, piano or whatever, but a lot of times I'm clicking in the notes.
Holy fuck.
And,
you're just a pure alchemist, man. You're a pure, like, you're one of the people up in the like towers, you know, you've gone past the need of the wands and the accoutrement. You're just like directly like from mind into machine MIDI notes, which is one day I hope to achieve.
Just the guys in the Matrix hooked up. Making beats.
It's a deeper, deep level. And I know that's like kind of where it leads to, is eventually just programming it directly in with MIDI. But with musical notation, which was based on a previous technology, because they didn't have MIDI back then, obviously, the grand staff, for example, which, you know what I'm talking about? That's called the weird shaped thing on the side.
The like the treble.
The treble clef. Yeah.
And then the bass clef. And
and they call it the grand staff.
It's so weird.
So it's got all this like stuff tied up in it, which feels magical. It feels like it's like this is based on, like, I don't know what they really meant with a staff, but a grand staff sounds like something a druid holds, some sonic staff. So it's like those kinds of things. The way it looks itself, if we didn't know it was music, you would just
look like little fairies. They look like little snitches from Harry Potter.
That's right. Yeah. So even within that, there seems to be a kind of acknowledgement of there being this sort of ecosystem, which almost like an alternate dimension where sound lives, and within sound there are like various daemons, so to speak, various sort of like entities that only live inside of sound.
Right.
And when you're making music, it's suddenly you can potentially enter into what should not be a collaboration because you're the only person there. And suddenly it's almost like, oh, a little thing shows up. And it's like, I want to make music with you. And now there's another thing coming through. And those are the moments that give me goosebumps. Because those are the moments where it goes from making music to catching music.
You know, I don't want to sound like super pretentious or anything, but the other day I was re-listening to something I made, and I was like, who made this? How did this happen? I'm not this good. I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Who wrote? Because it was like really jazzy kind of a thing, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with that. But it exists.
Something swam through you into the world, and that element of art is so simultaneously wonderful and simultaneously terrifying, because if you are just producing a situation where music can swim through you into the world, you're just a little tributary made of meat that these little musical beings are swimming into. Yeah, a meat tributary.
For the daemons. So lay me down, damies.
That's like some Manson shit. I'm a meat tributary for the demons. That's all. I didn't kill anybody. I'm a tributary of meat.
It wasn't me. Quote me.
Listen, it's nice to meet you. I'm a meat tributary for musical daemons.
Oh,
Can I give you another drink?
I'm not a musician.
Just a meat tributary for musical daemons.
Right.
But I think that the language itself needs to be improved, but in a sense that there needs to be a little bit more courageousness when it comes to the discussion of creation. Because I think one thing I've noticed, which to me is one of the really most hilarious, tragic, and noble things that I've witnessed, is sometimes hardcore scientists are doing studies with psychedelics and have clearly sampled their materials and have clearly had powerful, mind-expanding, life-changing experiences. Have to then take
sweet Hoffman.
Yes, but they because it's a scientific community, and because they've recognized that when used in conjunction with therapy, there's the potential for true transformation of society and of the individual.
They're smart. They're like, wow.
Yeah, so they get the importance of it.
Yeah.
But they also know that if they were to sit down with a group of scientists who had yet to experience this and say, well, guys, see, what happened is this. There appears to be a kind of, for lack of a better word, a ecosystem of beings that just want to help us. And one of the ways they talk to us is when we take psychedelics. And usually what they say is, it would be good if we were more compassionate and kind to each other. And there's types of healings that are possible. But you can't say that, because if you say that to a scientist, they're going to be like, you are fucking nuts, man. So you have to translate it. And this is where you come up with these amazing things that these scientists have come up with, which is literal quantifications of mystical states. So they've come up with quantification methodology to sort of measure out transcendent states of consciousness. And they have to do that because if they don't speak in that language, then they can't bring the demon out of the meat tributary into this world.
Yeah.
To translate it here, it requires a type of conversion into something that is understandable, accessible, and not very threatening. Because for a lot of people, you sound cuckoo for fucking Cocoa Puffs if you say spirits are coming through you when you make music.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I don't believe that, but I also believe everything. I don't believe anything, and I also believe everything. It's
sure.
Yeah. So it's. I was gonna say, writing music is trippy in the fact that it's little time capsules where it's kind of a snapshot of that artist's life or that point in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the daemons. Oftentimes I'll maybe it's because I'm on the road too much and I'll be hanging out with people, but I'll turn around and be like, hey, you guys like that? Oh, no one's in here. Or I'll be with the one friend and be like, you guys like that?
Oh yeah. It's
just my one friend.
Well, you look, it's, I mean, it's,
who are you calling guys?
Who are you talking to? Well, so it's kind of one thing that people are more comfortable discussing these days, which is hilarious, is gut bacteria. So a lot of people are understanding now that it appears there seems to be some connection between behavior and gut bacteria, specifically food habits, that gut bacteria are somehow sending signals to us that are making us crave certain things.
Totally. Yes.
So you could say this. You could say, well, there's definitely gut bacteria living inside of you that is making you want to eat ice cream. But you can't say...
There's actually dubstep bacteria in your ear that makes you crave bass music.
Well, man, right. You can't say that. You can't say... Who knows? Where does it stop? I mean, if the gut bacteria is making me want to eat some fucking ice cream... What else is it?
Well, we were talking about water and emoto and intentions being put under water and water molecules. I often forget what are we, 70% water? Something like that. We're very water.
Yeah.
Very much water.
It's going up.
What are things doing? What are frequencies? And then a full song is a lot of frequencies. So what is that doing we know subwoofers and heavy bass shows, rattle things. And you know what is really interesting? Have you checked out Cymatics?
No. Oh, you mean the shapes?
Yeah, basically just visuals in water via vibrations.
Yeah, right. And so
That
then
stuff's incredible.
right.
Can't explain it, but
It is
it's
incredible.
incredible.
It's math, and so
Right.
then you see that it's magical. You vibrate things at a certain frequency, and they form these very specific geometric shapes.
I think at certain resonant. So basically, I've done this with my roommate Wes. We've in Detroit, we put a plate of water on my subwoofer, which not surprisingly shortly after broke, but it ended up
spilled water all over.
We didn't spill water, but it was done. It ended up becoming part of a robot statue in the backyard. But anyway, a tribute. But
Yeah.
Anyway, we took a sweep of a single synth tone, maybe like a simple sine wave or something. Sounds like doo, and start real low, and that sound is what subwoofers are like. A lot of 808 kick are made of, is the simple sine wave. So anyway, we started really low and sweep it up slowly upwards in pitch, and at certain sections the sound becomes resonant, I guess, with itself. I don't know anything. We should probably ask an expert, but when it hits certain resonant peaks, that's when you see these incredible, and in between them are incredible formations, but that's when a real crystallized image is being vibrated in the water.
Yeah.
And then you keep going up, and it keeps getting more and more fractalized. It's really crazy.
Crazy.
Like, wait, what? And then you remember that you're made of water.
Right.
Like, wait, whoa.
And then also you remember that we're like water expressing itself through action, emotion, thoughts, and then And in this situation, it's like when the vibration is affecting the water, it's affecting just pure water minus all of the other conditions that allow it to be sentient, which is what we are. So
right.
When music crosses paths,
we have blood, and we have a bunch of other
crazy stuff. Yeah, we're
crazy alchemy.
Yes, crazy alchemy.
We're crazy walking alchemy projects.
We're alchemy laboratories.
Yeah,
and that's the premise of so many wonderful philosophies and religions is like this idea of what's beautiful about being a human is that you're a walking laboratory.
Hello, I'm Alchemy Lab.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, man. You're an alchemy lab.
Nice.
And then within this alchemy lab of the self there are a lot of little experiments you could do. And these experiments involve what you're saying, which is the kind of agnosticism. It's like you want to sort of allow yourself the ability.
Because we don't know anything, but we want to allow ourselves in case.
Well, you just want to be able to open yourself. The idea would be, okay, let's push aside the obvious thing. Like, let's just all admit right now that Neil deGrasse Tyson is right.
He's right. He's right.
Let's just admit it.
He finished the project for us. We don't need to know anything else.
He did it.
1,000 years of De Tyson.
It's done. He figured it out. Carl Sagan figured it out. Stephen Hawking figured it out. Richard Dawkins figured it. It's all been figured out. Okay, let's just so let's admit that there is we'll call it the DeGrasse layer.
Yeah.
Okay, the Tyson.
He's at
layer.
the top. He's at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, we got it. So there. Okay, now we know that. So we're all safe. No one's going crazy.
DeGrasse De Tyson.
We admit it. This is a fucking gravity well with a planet sticking in it. There's just matter. That's it. You die. You're dead forever.
That's it. There's nothing more.
We don't. And if there is something more, we don't know it yet. And whatever you fucking think it is, stoner, is not what it is. Okay. So So let's start there. We got that.
That's right. Okay. The base layer.
Yeah, we got that. So now let's push that aside. Okay.
All
Fuck
right,
that.
That's gone.
So we all know we're not going to go crazy.
Magic.
Yes.
Can exist.
This is now the next step will be okay. Now let's imagine that we are host to a variety of organisms in our own body. This is actually on the Neil deGrasse Tyson.
This is
real.
Yeah.
We have mitochondrial DNA.
This is on the Neil reel.
This is on the Neo reel. So we know this is Neo reel. So we have mitochondrial DNA, and then we have gut bacteria, and not to mention all the things living just in the ecosystem of what we are. We're like a tree filled with a variety of creatures that are living inside us. Our parasites, our diseases. We're a jungle. So so that's great. We're still on that. We're still on the real
hairy jungle.
We're a hairy jungle, and in our hair, there's little mites chomping our hair like corn.
Yeah, they
like
love
carrots.
They love
delicious.
it. We love it.
Yeah, that's right. And then also our eyes are eating light. We know that. Photons are coming into our eyes. And the photons have been essentially spawned in the sun over millennia, and then our eyes are just gobbling them down and turning them into vision. And then our ears are automatically transforming waves, mathematical waves, into something that we call sound.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's still on the top. So, but it's
still on the Neil reel.
But then, if we want to kind of move a little step past the Neil reel, we would enter into the great question that Jack Kornfield says is the first thing they asked him when he became a monk, which is, where are you in your body? So this is a fair question.
Yeah. The mind versus the brain, right? What has there been any research into dreams and the mind and dream state? And I mean, I was just talking about this, how it's like, we can quantify maybe what alpha state or whatever the heck the brain, however they even measure that. That's kind of it. I'm sure they've gone deeper in the for the Neil reel, but we all know, we can all agree, we all go to bed at night and then we go into this other world, and then that's happening. We can all agree on dreams. What is that? What is that?
Yeah, and then how about the non-dreams? How about just closing your eyes and 4 hours passed?
Right.
Now, this is called the non-continuity of self. So in the sort of analysis, the idea is like, all right, well, we know we have gut bacteria living inside of us, and then clearly there's a me living in me, and this forest of bacteria and mitochondrial DNA and pubic hair and shit and piss and blood and flesh and oxygen.
It's me.
Somewhere in there is a me living in here.
Right.
Somewhere there must be. And
I gotta be in there somewhere.
Where are you?
Where am I?
Find it.
Where am I?
Where is it? Within this exploration is where things get really fun, because it's like, if you're going to be agnostic about the daemons coming through the meat tributary into your sound, then you're going to have to be agnostic about the existence of yourself. In other words,
right.
Are you any more real than those daemons? And if you are, how so?
Right. You
disappear every night, you reappear in the morning. That self that you attach yourself to, you disappear when you get caught up in your thoughts. How often have you looked up and 3 hours has passed and you're like, where the fuck was I?
We are the daemon.
Right. There you go. Yeah. So there it is. So it's like, suddenly it's like, well, okay, I can't confirm for sure that interdimensional beings are flowing through me when I'm making art or chatting or talking. But one thing I do know for sure is there does seem to be something living inside of this meat jungle called myself. Right. And whatever that fucking thing is, I guess it's me.
It's trying to do art. It's trying to scream at something.
Yeah. It thinks it's something.
Yeah.
I think I'm a thing. And then you get into this interesting conundrum, which is, where are your words coming from? And every single moment there's a flow of words coming out of your mouth. You go and order your coffee, you go get on the phone with someone you love, the sounds you make when you're fucking, all those sounds, where are they coming from? There's no
stream of consciousness is crazy.
Where does the stream start?
And that's when jamming and playing music and jazz musicians and where did you come from? Where did you go? I have no idea.
That, because that as a musician. So the thing where I think, and this is maybe the secret society of musicians and the big secret all musicians share, I guess, is when y'all get together and start making music, something weird happens. You start sharing a mind or something. Like suddenly something
That's what I was remembering. I just read a thing about, we were talking about water and the bodies, and so I just read this statistic about this thing that scientists, that the Neil Reel has agreed upon, that humans in large crowd form will move like water, flow like water in whatever the scientific term for it, hydrodynamic or something like that, where it will like move like water, like flow, like flowing through like a huge crowd leaving a concert or something. Yeah. No one's like, there's not one director in the back like, all right, everyone do this now. Yeah. But we're all moving collectively like water. So that's another more proof of what the heck, everyth's connected, man.
Well, it's the water inside of us, I guess. And already knows the water, what to do.
The water's our Lord. Is that? Well, the water's our overlord.
That's, the water.
That's what's happened. Oh,
yeah. The water. Well, this is what it is. Is it's like, so it's kind of like, water is a perfect way to get into the conversation of the perfection of all things, because when you sort of throw water on the ground, anyone can do this anytime you want to do it, or if you want to go and watch the rain fall is a better thing. If you happen to be in a place where there's rain.
We're lucky right now. LA rain, baby.
It would be nice if you'd come here on a sunny day, but right now it's raining.
I've never been here when it's raining, so I'm fine. I'm happy for the city.
That's a good attitude towards it, man. Yeah. It's like,
I mean, I lived in Oakland for 2 years during the drought.
Oh, there you go.
Of Oakland, and the great drought of Oakland.
The great
couple years ago
drought of Oakland,
and it was crazy. It was one season. Anyway, I'm sorry.
You've experienced the blistering blue, perfect, endless, perfect day of Southern California.
We need it needed a shower.
We need it.
Yeah.
But you don't judge water.
Right.
When you're watching water come out of a drain pipe onto the ground, unless you're like the most massive dick on planet Earth, you're not looking at the water flow out of the drain pipe and thinking, look at that lazy ass fucking water. See how it just does only what it has to? Like, that water doesn't do shit. It just like basically does only what it has to, and then look at it, the way it flows.
Freaking water.
Just only does what it has to. And but
was it Ram Dass who was talking about treat everyone like trees? Don't judge. You wouldn't judge a tree.
That's right. You wouldn't judge a tree. You wouldn't judge a flower.
You wouldn't judge a water.
Well, you wouldn't judge. There's no water judge. There's nobody.
Two Wet Crew.
Look at that. Yeah, those guys.
Hey, props on being in Two Wet Crew. That's great.
It was one of the great honors of my life.
Yeah, it's honorable.
So since we're mostly water, okay, so we know we're what, 70% water. Let's just pretend that's the number. It's probably
70 something.
70 whatever.
But we'll say that.
And then so there's 30% of something else.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, a lot of that's gut bacteria.
Oh yeah.
And shit.
That's right.
And all we know. So then, but somewhere in there, there's supposed to be a self, right? But because we're 70%, we're mostly water, and we know that water is unblameable.
Can't blame the water,
right? And if you think water is perfect and you're 70% water, then 70% of you is perfect. Right?
It's beautiful.
That's pretty great.
That's above failing grade.
That's wonderful. 70% perfection is incredible. But then I think we could take it up a little higher, because I'm not sure what the other stuff is, but let's just imagine it is gut bacteria. Let's imagine we're 5% gut bacteria. Who judges gut bacteria? Like, no one's writing reviews of gut bacteria. There's no Yelp for your gut bacteria. So, you know what I mean? Gut bacteria, as far as I know... Gelp. I encountered this gut bacteria, and I was really disappointed in the way
pictures of them. You can swipe through the pictures.
Maybe gut bacteria are fucking
Dude, this is honestly, we're 5 years ahead of the curve. They're going to have Gelp. Maybe gut bacteria is what sends the signal to write a shitty Yelp review and your pizza sucks. Who knows? Maybe that's where it's coming from. Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, what I'm getting at. The point is, there's you. If you can't find you, number one, you really can't find you in you. You really can't. You don't know where you live in you. You just have this kind of thing that comes out of your mouth.
That's when there's no accountability, and then that's when you get people doing heinous crimes and things,
Well, now we're in a really interesting zone, aren't we? Because it's like you want what we would love to have is a monster. So if you manage to find yourself a good monster, right? Let's take Jeffrey Dahmer, a true monster, a monster. But then you sit, and if you look at Jeffrey Dahmer, like, all right, 70% of you is water. Now, is that water evil? I don't think so. So if I sucked 70% of the water out of Jeffrey Dahmer...
probably got some weird vibrations, but yeah, you can't judge that water.
Can't judge the water.
Yeah.
So, like, in my God, if you want to talk about a mass murder or the ocean, holy shit, if we're going to talk about evil water, like, good
Those
God.
are rough seas.
It's how many people have drowned in the ocean? How many, like, but the ocean is blameless. It's fine. But 70% of Jeffrey Dahmer's water, somewhere in there must be something evil. Where is it? What is it? Right? Where do we find it? Is it the fucking abuse that the kid had? Is that the evil? Is it the echo of the abuse that stuck in him?
Another
or
fractal.
Is it, what's that?
Another fractal.
Yes.
It's all fractals.
Is it his brain? Is it a neural connection in his brain? Is there some kind of like, or is there within Jeffrey Dahmer, was there a precise, malefic, dark decision-making process that was evil? And you know, the problem is, I don't think so. I think you're just looking at a kind of rotten echo, an eddy, a shitty fucking...
Yeah, because you can't have him without his parents and so forth. The fractal, his brain is a fractal of his parents' brains.
Yeah.
And whatever happened in his childhood.
Yeah, and now we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because our entire system is based on having, like, people who are evil. And if we're in a situation where it's like, mostly it seems like we're reflecting. I saw the Dalai Lama talk in Anaheim, and that's what he said. He said, If someone hurts you, you're probably seeing an echo.
Right.
It's a thing bouncing
Totally.
off of someone. It's a bouncing energy that was been bouncing around for a long time. And so then here is where we run into a real problem, I think, which is, interdependency. We're all completely reflecting each other.
We're all part of the water, the crowd of humans trying to move out of the concert.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe rivers are dicks. Maybe like in the river, there's like
You know what? They are. You know what?
Fucking
Screw water.
Water sucks. Fuck water. What if we just find that out, that water's just an asshole? Water's
water.
completely shitty. The thing that's bad about people is the water. It's the water. It's just the other parts of the universe, they talk shit about water. It's like, fuck Earth. It's 70% water. Water's an ass.
So when we all start drinking Gatorade, Powerade, and
There's so much water
that
in
movie.
Gatorade. We just have to start drinking dirt.
just get the dust. Just get the dust out of the Gatorade.
The key is pure dehydration. We have to figure out a way to suck the water out of us and then punish the water. It's not enough to just fucking take the water out. We need to punish the oceans. Maybe that's what the oil spills are. Maybe they figured it out. We're punishing the sea.
I get it. It's a huge tribute to the sea. The oil companies. That's the only reason they exist. They're saving us. They're actually saving us.
They're trying to tame the seas.
When sometimes I like to go out to the ocean and just get my whip out and start whipping.
I love whipping water. When I'm depressed, I go and whip the water. Anytime there's a tsunami, just go out and start spanking the water. This is, I think, as absurd as it sounds, I do think it's an important thing, because it's like anytime you're beating yourself up, you're whipping water.
Yeah, you're screaming at the sky.
Yeah.
You're shaking your fist at the sky.
Yeah. That's the first thing. You come home.
You're an old man screaming at sky.
Yeah. What have I done? I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? I must be a real piece of shit. Well, first of all, figure out which part of you is the piece of shit. It's like, that's the main thing. Is like,
maybe you have to shit.
You might just need to shit but
eat some food, take a nap, drink some water.
Are you hard on yourself?
Are we drinking water again? Can we drink water still?
Nope. No more water for the rest of the day.
All right.
We have to purge.
I'm going to try this experiment.
Are you hard on yourself?
Check on me in 3 days if I'm still okay. Am I hard on myself?
Yeah.
I'm definitely I perfectionist. I like to say that for finishing projects and music and presenting stuff to the collective world. So in that case, yeah, I'm probably kind of hard on myself with work and stuff. But lately, I mean, honestly, listening to your podcast, you have a lot of positive people on, people talking about how self-care and self-love and just positive stuff like that. I've been more and more lately trying to forgive myself, you know, hold my hand, you know, and put my hand on my heart and be like, oh, it's cool. It's okay. I've always been tried to not be super hard on myself and just have fun, and joke around. I love comedy, you know. I don't like to watch horror movies.
Right. Yeah. But, yeah, man. I know what you mean. It's like
it's like, hey, we're trying to have fun yet?
Well, that. Yeah, I'm like lately it's like, you know, a lot of the conversations you're talking about were these positive people that it affects me. And then it's really brought me to a point of taking a deep look into selfness, so to speak. And then figuring out like, shit, what is fun? Like, what is, you know, someone tweeted this really like sad thing. I can't remember who it was. It was about their kids. It was a real pissed off tweet, but somebody got like 50,000 retweets. And he was like, you know, people aren't going to say this, but having kids is destabilizing, and it's just a lot of the time it's not fun. And I remember, my thinking on that, I was like, wait, what
is fun?
Yeah. What's his idea of fun? You know, and then from there, I'm like, wait, before I judge this guy, what the fuck is my idea of fun?
Right.
You know, what is it? Like, what would fun be? And then what the fuck is, and since then I've been thinking like, I'm not really sure what fun is. I actually, you know, because we kind of chatted about it briefly. Right. I looked up the etymology to talk about the least fun activity, looking up etymologies, but I looked up the etymology of fun, and it comes from to trick or a fool.
Wow.
You know, so
interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. But like, you know, having fun.
The jester is important. Andy Kaufman is important. You're important. The comedians are important. We need that. Fun is my goal. To me, and I don't know who I am, but to me, it feels deep down like that's really important.
Comedians
not being too hard on yourself or the world, or just having fun. You're a comedian.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think
you love fun.
I'll listen, as a fucking comedian.
You are fun.
The comedian side of me will be the first thing to say how important comedians are. I'll tell you that. That's one of the qualities of a fool.
Right.
A fool will right away bugle about the importance of themselves. Like, that's the first step of being a fool, is you've got to think you're important.
Right.
If you don't think you're important, then you might not be a fool anymore. Now you're getting wise. You better watch out.
Yeah.
Step one, first think you're super fucking important. Secretly. Step two, pretend that you're not. That's the kind of the dance a fool does, is like, you know what I mean, like down inside you kind of have this messiah complex, and you're like, maybe I could save the world, which is why so many comedians,
it's the only way to get out the door, right?
Yeah, but you embarrass as a comedian, it's like the number one way to embarrass yourself. So like a lot of people these days get really angry at comedians because many comedians will suddenly step out, so to speak, and they will announce some broad global world peace plan. It's not even funny. They're convinced they figured out a way to save the world. And then the reaction they get for it will quite often be accolades, you know, because whatever the thing that they've come up with is this sort problem, and then the solution seems kind of poignant or something. And so then the comedian gets placed on the throne, which is an ancient tradition.
I mean, like all the greats, George Carlin just talking about like the most epic stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then inevitably what happens, so like I've heard about this. What you would do is you take the fool, if you're a king, the idea is you take the fool and then you put him on the throne for the day. So you let the fool be the king for a day, and then it's the most hilarious fucking thing, because over the course of the day, if you had a true fool, then the fool would begin to start thinking he was a king or she was a king. And that was what was the funniest thing to everybody, is you would begin to watch this transformation happen because this is a fool. And the fool will naturally begin to become a king if you don't watch out. And this, I think, is a really dangerous thing when you're around a trickster. Because if you're around a trickster and you put a crown on a trickster, the trickster is going to like be the king.
Trickster's king now. Guess what? Now you have Trump.
Well, I mean,
they'll have the sword of Damocles over them. Have you heard of that? You know that?
yeah.
I love that.
You mean the thread with the sword hanging?
I love that, where any king or anyone in power has this thin thread of, it could all be over. There's so many people against you, and the sword of Damocles.
Well, I mean, this was the idea. The idea would be that, like, the nobility of a king or a true leader is, like, there are many noble traits. One of the noble traits is there is a kind of lion tamer quality to them, which is, like, they fully understand the serious and sinister position they put themselves in, because people will cut your head off. That was the idea, is like the hive. You've basically decided to move in to a hornet's nest and start telling the hornets how to fly.
Right.
And, like, if you step out of line, they'll just kill you. I mean, there's the potential to really get killed. But then on top of that, there's a love for the hornets, a true, sincere, authentic love for the hornets. So it's like, yeah, you being a leader or
when you have a good king.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
a great leader.
A great leader, yeah.
One of the greats.
This is in the Tao Te Ching, the great leader. Have you ever heard this? That the greatest leader you would never know was a leader.
Cool.
There wouldn't even be a sense that there was a leader. And then the next step down from that, I think, is if people are revering the leader, it's already considered a kind of degradation. It's tainted if there's reverence. And then the next step would be fear, right? If you fear the leader, then it's all
downhill.
Now you have autocracy, and then after that, it continues to collapse. Yeah. So whenever you have a leader that is producing fear dynamics, you're seeing a very degraded leader type. When, like, that, the idea would be a kind of like a great. I think a really great. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the days when, like, the president would give a speech, and you really didn't give a shit. It was kind of boring.
And you couldn't, like, repeat. You couldn't respond on some forum in the air.
Yeah.
And respond to the leader how they spelled two words wrong in a row. How are we allowed to do that? What is Twitter?
That's wild. Direct contact with a leader.
How?
Yeah.
Who decided that?
Yeah. It's wild. I remember when Twitter first came out, I thought it was going to flop. It's like, who the fuck wants to leave tiny little messages in space? Nobody cares. Like, no one cares. And then suddenly it became this, like, apocalyptic tool.
Yeah, what? All of a sudden, the president's talking to a dictator. It's mind-blowing. Twitter's interesting because all my musician friends, including myself, will use it to be comedians. Use it for, like, one-liners.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what really only matters on there with the collective consciousness. Obviously, I'll upload, be like, I'm doing this show or something, but the hits are the jokes, and I guess boiling it back down to girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, girls just want to have fun.
People just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun.
That's it's like the reality of it is the creation of the fun state, right? So the idea is, like, typically there are fun moments and there are non-fun moments. And then there's also the moments in getting to a fun moment, right? So, like, classic fun, the beach. Like, so the way it works is when you pack up your stuff and get in the car and you drive to the beach, and then you go out in the sand and you lay out in the sand, and that is like that now you've entered into the realm of fun. And then you get back in the car and drive home, not as fun, and then you get home and you kind of had an okay time and you fall asleep. But within this is a peak.
Right.
The beach moment is the peak. The lead up to that is not quite as fun, and then going away is certainly not fun. And so this is a kind of way that people paint reality, which is we produce moments that, that's when I'm going to be having fun. Right now, not so much. I'm in traffic. This couldn't be fun.
Or the opposite, like anticipating something stressful or something, or procrastinating and just thinking about that leading up to it isn't great. And so I think the answer is the great old Buddhist, the old be here now, right? The live in the now, because I feel like when I'm like anticipating something, I'm only thinking about the future, and then I'm living in that moment of anxiety, or like or waiting for the beach, like being in the car thinking about the beach, anxious or whatever. But if you're in that moment, you're like singing along to the song in the car and just having fun. And I guess fun would be being in the moment, right? And that's being here now and stuff, just being fun.
Yeah, like I don't know. Because first you have to kind of define fun. It's like, well, I guess fun for like it's if you look at like a Coca-Cola commercial, or if you look at like any commercial and you see the projection of fun coming out of
the polar
people
bears
who want to sell you shit, yeah,
those fun polar bears with sweaters,
yeah, that usually fun involves either some kind of like insane frenetic activity, like you're at a place with fog and lasers, or fun involves the moments after purchasing a thing, or fun involves a kind of like rare gathering. One thing I saw, the most sinister commercial I've seen lately portraying fun, is a Crown Royal commercial, which shows a guy shamelessly walking down the street with a bottle of Crown Royal attached to his...
That's illegal.
He's just carrying a bottle.
That's illegal.
It's just, whatever. It's a bottle of fucking Crown Royal. I mean, it's like, just put it in a bag or something, man.
You better be in New Orleans.
It just seems weird, but then where it gets even weirder, which, whatever, fucking strolling down the street with a bottle of Crown Royal. Who gives a fuck? That's your thing. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
to each his own.
To each his own.
Have fun.
But then he gets to home. He's visiting his mom. And he pours a glass of Crown Royal for himself and his mom, who lives alone, it seems like. And I guess this is like a sweet moment between son and mother, which is to share a glass of Crown Royal. It just seems weird, man.
What's fun is when the Crown Royal execs get their checks and bonuses. That's so much fun.
It's fun for them, for sure. It's fun for them to like make it seem like an intimate moment, a sweet moment with your mom involves fucking Crown Royal. And then he leaves his mom alone at the house, I guess, and goes to a bar where he drinks more Crown fucking Royal. His whole life is the Crown Royal universe, right? So this is
fun. It's gotta be for those execs to have fun.
Fun is conditional. One thing for certain is that for many people, fun is conditional. Mm-hmm. There needs to be a certain condition. And also I looked up the opposite of fun, which, do you know what it is?
I guess what, bored?
Putting bees in your ass.
I get it. Yeah, that's true.
The opposite of fun. Universally, they did a study. They went all over the planet.
No, that's on the Neil Reel.
Yeah, the Neil Reel. Neil deGrasse Tyson actually did an entire amazing episode. Like, what unites us as a species is we all hate getting bees shoved in our ass.
It's the worst.
Terrible. The delivery mechanism for the bees is completely irrelevant.
Not the best.
It's the bee situation.
Not the beast.
Not the best. Not the beast. Yeah. So in this exploration of humanity, they found that whether it's one bee to 30 bees, to a beehive, to a hornet's nest.
No fun.
We just don't
ass.
like it in our ass. We don't like bees in our ass. And guess what? The bees don't like it either. No one's having fun there. The bees aren't having fun. You're not having fun. That's the opposite of fun.
Bees don't like it.
Right underneath that, boredom. Boredom. And here's where it gets really interesting. They found that it's impossible to be bored when you have bees in your ass.
We've solved it. We've solved it.
So basically the antidote to... Now, boredom is considered the opposite of fun. And this is where it gets fucking weird, which is the antidote to boredom universally. Put some bees in your ass. You will not be bored anymore. You will have something to do. You will have an activity there'll be meaning in your life suddenly. Yeah. Boredom is the opposite.
That's a great solution. It's world peace, world fun is perpetuate that via bees in your ass.
Yeah,
It's genius.
It's and this is why the bees are dying. you see what's happening is
Neil's figured this out, and
yeah.
It's been harvesting.
People have been so bored lately. They've been shoving bees in their ass to give their lives meaning. And it's like the bees are like not only, obviously dying from suffocating in people's asses, but they're also committing suicide because of the chance.
Some of them, though, are actually evolving and becoming part of the ass.
Yeah.
And so now you have humans with bee ass.
Yeah.
Bee ass.
Yeah. That's really fun.
BS is actually the lead cause of
traffic.
I think traffic.
Yeah, they're just there's a lot of theories behind like this phenomena that's happening, which is like the main thing is like we don't know how many people are doing it. So like if
that's the problem. That's why traffic. There's a lot of angry people.
A
lot of angry people,
and who can blame them?
Usually the bees are usually blaming them. They're pretty pissed. They're stinging. They're up there stinging
in the water.
They're not happy.
The main thing, guys, I think the takeaway from this is we're tributaries for demons, and that the best way to not be bored is shove bees in your asshole. But boredom,
and make sure to whip the water when you're.
Well, the best way to torture water, is to the main thing, guys, that we're saying here is just find a beehive and throw it in the ocean.
That's right.
Fun. The opposite of fun is boredom, and boredom is what is painted as in our culture. Boredom is literally like the thing we have to avoid the most. Like boredom.
Check your phone. Check your phone.
That's right.
Check your phone.
Yeah.
Check your phone.
Yeah.
Check your phone.
Watch out. You're getting bored. Are you getting bored? Are you okay? You getting bored?
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's taking over.
Yeah. That's it. So everything around, like everything we see on TV and everything that we hear, and many of the products are various antidotes to this idea of boredom, of being still, of not doing anything.
It's overstimulation.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, fun.
Remember when we used to just sit and hang out around the fire with the ancient ones,
the ancient times,
and we would just do our thing without screens.
Yeah,
it sounded kind of cool, but now is cool too. I mean, electronic music is fun. It's crazy.
Making music is glorious.
So much fun.
So much fun. Stream
of consciousness, just becoming a
Let's
talk more about what you were talking about, which is kind of almost conjuring. What is that? Especially for modular synths, and so you've experienced this because that's pure electronic voltages and just really real. Really real compared to.
I don't know, man.
Compared to digital is more in the box, in the computer, but that's why this modular stuff is crazy to me. The realness of the voltages and the electricity. And
yeah, I don't know what I like. My sense of it is that it's some kind of. For me, I see it as more of a kind of like oracular device, like a kind of like reading entrails, and I know that. If I've got a practice where I've been sitting, and if my mood, my consciousness is even slightly shifted with an intentionality of being grateful for my existence, then the music I get lucky enough to dial in is usually more harmonious and sweet. If I'm confused or pissed off or freaked out or whatever, then for like either just squawking awful shit comes out, or like nothing really flows, or there's even worse. The worst of the worst is a kind of like sense of squeezing out something, like a kind of wanting to push a thing out of the synths, or wanting to like pull a thing out, rip a thing out. All those aspects of it just suck.
Slither out.
Yeah, like we just get a snake to come slithering out.
Come here.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll stream making music on it, and like when I do that, it's really funny because
then you have the external forces
that helps.
Yeah.
But my assumption when I'm doing that is people just know that I don't know how to make music on these things.
That's the key, I think.
Yeah.
It's to not not be too serious. But I think there's two modes of thought with what we're talking about. One mode I kind of subscribe to is what we're talking about is there's so many variables. I don't think I can get the same thing twice with all the variables going on.
Right.
Now there's other more scientific producers and stuff that will be in the more in the mode of thought saying, no. It's all science. It's all frequencies. Just dial everything in the same exact way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like you're saying, I think there's something more to it where you're channeling something's going on when you're turning these. Of course, there's so many variables. Maybe it's just really hard to dial it in the exact same way.
Well,
but
I'll tell you,
always get infinite new things.
And you get the one thing that this is so. I'm sorry, man. You're so fucking cool that I keep forgetting you're this genius music producer, man. And I was just rambling about making synth music to Freddy Todd.
No, dude.
Sorry.
The thing is, you know more than I know. At this particular, I don't even have a modular analog synth. I had no idea what's going on.
You tricked me for that. You made me very comfortable. I appreciate that. But one thing, and again, this is complete neophyte noob shit. But one thing, I was recording music into Ableton from this thing, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, God damn it, what is going on? That when it goes into Ableton, it sounds completely different, or there's it's missing something. And then I realized, oh, you dope. What's happening is, you're playing it from your speakers, and the speakers are reflecting off the walls, and that's producing a sound that you can't capture through the line because it's coming through, or at least I don't know what technique to capture the reverb.
We could record through the mic.
You could record it through the mic.
Yeah.
And then maybe blend the two together or something, because it seems like the mic recording would sound...
You could do anything.
Right. That's the other element
That's
to it.
That's the fun part. You could do that, and I was thinking, man, my dad just for Christmas he gave me this little. He said it's waterproof. This little Bluetooth speaker thing. I want to record. I want to take a mic into the bathroom and have a part of my song and drop it into the tub, and that's a filter, and record that with a mic.
Yeah,
I want to do that next.
That element of it. Yeah. So
what we've done? So I have a side project called Gucci Men with Space Jesus.
No way.
And we recorded the sound of the sub at my studio in Oakland a couple years ago when we wrote this song. We were noticing when the sub hit a certain note, it would rattle whatever part of the wall or something, and we're like, oh, that's hot. So we took a mic and recorded that and brought that back into the song, cut out the low end from that so it's not interfering with anything else, so it's just the high kind of rattle, but it's resonant frequency resonating from the original sub, and then the sub sound maybe will cut out a little of the highs and layer them, so it'll be like
that's so
organic
cool.
sounding thing.
Yes, that's the other quality of this stuff is suddenly you realize or one of the things that's taught me this. There's two qualities I want to bring up. One is that just the practice of making music on this has been transformative because it's taught me just a lot of other philosophical
I'm so stoked
things.
You got into this. I've been listening to your podcasts for a while, and I was listening before you really got into Ableton and this stuff.
Dude,
analog.
I'm in love with it. Let's play a little music and record our conversation while he makes it. You could come over here and make some stuff you want. I'll just get the mic up. We'll switch.
Do you have vocal effects set up, or is that kind of something you'd have to?
Vocal effects? I could easily set it up for us. I would have to. Yeah, it would take 10 seconds, and basically what could happen is I could sit there. Because there's only room for one person in this thing, and then you could just fiddle around with it if you wanted to.
I'll fiddle. I'll tell you what. I'm telling you right now. You know more than I do about your system.
Well, that's the.
But
best,
yeah, exactly.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Is not. I mean, in a weird way, the more I learn, the more I wish I didn't know. Because there's something about the chaos factor that I really like.
My producer buddy was just talking about how he, especially, we can't really enjoy music. We can't really sit and listen to music like a lot of people would. We're just kind of jaded and tainted by the industry, but in terms of trying to analyze every single thing we hear, how could I make that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've
reverse engineering,
slightly started doing
starting
that.
to ruin being a fan.
Yeah, you listen to the little pieces and you're like, oh, okay, I think I kind of understand what they're doing to make that sound. But for you, it must be more precise. You know what? Let's take a break. I'm
Cool.
gonna set this up so you can I'll show you a little bit about how this system works, and then we'll just talk while you make, if you don't mind.
No, that sounds really fun. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
No, let's do it.
So this is the output for everything. This is government sound guinea pig or castle. back in the spaceship again, my friends. Thank you, Duncan. I want to thank Duncan for letting me ride his spaceship. It's a cool one. I don't own any modular analog synthesizers, but a lot of my friends do. Shout out Mr. Bill. Shout out Space J. But it's really neat to have magical friends with electronic dragons for pets. Make noise is crazy. So do you ever find DMT elves within these machines? Now, welcome to my podcast. Now we switched side of tables, and I really feel like I'm in Duncan's seat now. You instantly become the guy who owns that synth momentarily. My beard has grown by 3 inches. Well, I've gone through puberty a 3rd time now. This short amount of time we've been speaking with the synthesizer on. The frosted tips, it's very, we're getting into Guy Fieri a lot lately. And he's sweet. He's a sweet clone though, I'll tell you that. I did not. I did hear that. I didn't. He's no longer a guy. Pierre Fieri. Pierre Fieri. Customs hates Pierre Fieri. Those damn Fieri hounds, those international Fieri hounds. Those Fieris are always just barking at my heels. It's real shit. Frosted Fieri. When you go out of here, just There's an out.
There's an out. Let's see, what are you trying to do there, Freddy Todd?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just trying to bark at these fiery hounds.
Why don't you put out that out? Look at that brown cord coming out of that damn cloud. That's a cloud with them. That's it. Pull that cord down, baby. And where's that in?
Here we go, boys. Here we go, boys.
Action. Oh shit. Let's go. There we go.
You ever never?
Yeah. I used to never all the fucking time. It used to be my number one profession.
Nice. Oh no! Joel! Get back, Freddy! Could be infinite. Thank you so much, Duncan. Means the world. You're one of my heroes. I love you. I love you to bits. I wish you well. People can find me on the internet, or in life at shows. You can find me on SoundCloud. You basically just go to www.freddytodd.com, Freddy, and that's a portal to my music and social media. Thank you so much, Duncan. Hare Krishna. Heck yeah. Oh, I know.
That was Freddy Todd on my modular synthesizers, but here is the genius track, Bargos, from Freddy Todd's newest album, Krondor. Please check him out. And also a big thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of the DTFH. Subscribe to us over at patreon.com/DTFH. This coming Sunday at 2 o'clock, we'll be doing some kind of live stream. I hope to see you there. Here's Freddy Todd.